Na yentu anko mojo chene sini ne Reverend Dr. Sam Worlanyo oye chartered economist. Na yene no ntwetwe nkomo kakra. Yemusa emfa the performance of Ghana's cedi over a period of time now. Doc, yemo ha ema wakwa baba epa ho adabenji medi so.
Yo, me da si. Mo to say.
Nyankopa adam je krikra mun kakra na wonso e.
Nyame adom.
Na Isaac busa me se wo katwi.
Kakra na akụkọ no nsie.
Me da say Isaac nim se wo ti twi sa ja no.
Oh.
Doc, yen shem komo twetwe na sem fam free how the cedi has performed so far from 1st of January up until September. And a World Bank target the cedi as the worst performing currency against the US dollar. Are you in any way surprised by this description?
Not at all. Good afternoon to our cherished listeners across the country. I believe, sir, we are in the era of globalization and development. And in this era, almost said there are two major issues or factors, that are affecting the local economy. One has to do with internal factors and also the external factors. Now, if care is not taken as a country, if not roll out policies and programs, that to sustain your local economy, the various shocks, will affect your stability as a country. And so, for a very long time, Ghana fails to implement a long-term development plan, and we were going for Eurobonds, going for credit facilities, incurring debt without channeling these resources into productive sectors of the economy.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, and say if the center cannot hold, things fall apart.
What really prevents us? What really prevents us from say jisika productive sectors mu ama sika so abamfa so ama omayno? What prevents us from doing that?
Most of the times, I believe that is a political expediency, because the way our governance system has been structured, by and large, the political parties who won the elections are always thinking about winning the next elections. And in winning the next elections, you need to roll out policies in a way that you'll be able to galvanize vote instead of championing development.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the resources or monies will be going into flashy programs rather than developmental programs. So instead of us to invest the resources in the building factories, companies, industries, we'll use these monies and our resources for NAPCO and all others, and which they knew very well that these programs most of the times are not sustainable. But if you do it that way, one will say you'll be able to touch and have an influence over individuals.
Yeah.
And so that will give you an edge of the next election. And so that is the kind of economy we're operating, and it has really backfired back to us as a country.
And then your friend of voodoo economics, Nana.
To a very large extent.
This is our intent of going to borrow is not necessarily to ensure that we get returns on the monies that we've gone in to borrow. But
no, not at all. The intention, the rationale is that we needed monies to be able to reach individuals so that we'll be able to get their interest, influence over the next election. And we don't have that kind of nationalistic agenda to propagate so that we'll be able to develop the country for the next generation. We don't have such a concept. And the institution that have been mandated, which we need to really support, that's Ghana Development Planning Commission, National Development Planning Commission. We have relegated it to the background, and nobody's interested in their work. Meanwhile, the policies and the programs to develop the country are out there.
Some are arguing that, Doc, some are arguing that some of the suggestions in that the 40-year development plan, and said that and I say is out of touch when you are situating it in Ghana's context. I don't think that abayin biba on your najuni say obekwa akohwe say nka obetumi implement if even one out of the lots of policies. What do you make of such an argument?
Giving a dog name in order to hang it. Well, sir, if politician wanted to do something, he needs to put an information in public domain so that what he wanted to do by the time he starts, he will be able to buy into that. So it's a political information because they could have brought those policies and programs to the public domain. You are in the media circles. Let's go and pick those informations, those policies, and see whether they are outmoded. Because they have factored in sustainability before developing the concept. We have never practiced the concept. How do we know that it's not going to be useful or helpful? So at the end of the day, we have too much political messaging, political information than economic policies. And so politicians are very smart. And the time has come for all of us to hold the bull by the horn and call a spade and not a big spoon.
It looks as if year in, year out, we face a similar challenge with the city depreciating, and yenshada enhunu kotoko ano emfa kra enshim. What do we need to do? I betimi ama yen sika no ne ho aye den ejina faako said e be ya emframa bi ebebo bi emfa ho still sika no ejina faako.
Well, I believe so. We need to change the concept of governance, and invariably, probably we need to change the two leading parties, because the way they have structured the economy, no amount of feasibility works. They are not ready to listen or take anybody's views. And at the end of the day, we have all the policies and programs. If right now we have decided to embark on a feasibility work or a research work, the findings, is the government ready to implement those findings? They won't. So at the end of the day, if things are not working well, if you are applying a certain method and you are getting the same result, why you need to apply a different method again? So at the end of the day, if the country is suffering, but I think that Ghanaians equally are making a very big mistake.
Oh, so you're putting the blame squarely at the doorstep of the Ghanaian?
Exactly. We select the leaders, and what do they tell us? What do we know that they'll be able to do? See, I would say most of our political leaders are only using the positions to run their own businesses and to amass wealth for themselves. And that is exactly the two major parties have been doing for all these years.
So, Doc, hey, let's look at this scenario. Imagine you happen to be the president of this country, or imagine you have been approved as the finance minister. You just mentioned, sir, the way we have structured our economy, what are the 4 or 5 critical things you would do in the first 6 months to restructure Ghana's economy and to put it on a path to progress and prosperity?
Well, development starts from the mindset, and you need public education. So there should be rigorous public education, public orientation, and be able to bring Ghanaians under one umbrella to think Ghanaian. And so that will be the first agenda. The second one has to do with you looking at the various sectors that are of major concern, the petrochemical industry. You need to look at the agri-businesses and agro-processing. You need also to look at the pharmaceutical industry. Look at the quantum of money we are spending in importing COVID drugs into this country, whereby we have the pharmaceutical industries in Ghana that can produce same quality of vaccines. You see, so you need to look at that. Then you also look at the local technologies, building a local technologies hub, like what Apostle Safo Kantaka is doing. Replicate this in all the 16 regions across the country. What does that mean? That has become an industrial hub for the technical and vocational education. So anybody who is going in for technical and vocational education needs to have an affiliate attachment with this industry. By the time they are done, they create their own jobs. And the other also has to do with developing a strong digital economy, and which we have started as a country, but it's long overdue. This digitization has delayed too much because as a country, before you develop, no one will say you need data.
Yes.
And the data will give you projections as to how planning should be done. then you'll be able to implement very well. So you need the digitization to really help you. And so you need to develop the country in these thematic areas. And that is where you'll be able to harness the local sustainability of your economy.
Doc, me know as is Jim right now need to drink moka cry for a year CD instance. When me say a brand no ye be now na ye no asan bon komo bio.
Miss Linda CP.
Reverend Dr. Worlanyo, Sam Worlanyo Mensa, one now to say no drink komo ho no. A lot of things are wabubo so we know the problems. We know the problems. And sometimes you are also aware of the solutions to the problems. But say, in Pempino, we do not apply the solutions to the problems that we're facing in this country. And if even cry say we are applying the solutions, a fast way apply solutions no. And function swa nanka ye need that so say be free mu abano. Embre. Where do we start from?